About the big payback. Traveling around the country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I when I God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
You know what time it is. It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. For the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by calling us at 1-877 532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And of course, you that cannot do that, you can go to our live stream page and go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to live stream and send a message on the message board. Mayor Rodney Jones is on. As soon as we come on, he goes on. He's on his post. Rodney Jones saying like and share. Yeah, we want you to share and likes. Put them likes up. I love the fact that our friend and brother Disco Brian says get them likes up. And Janet overall says good afternoon, everyone. Have a great day. Joanne Hopkins, good afternoon. Reverend Al Sharpton, pray a blessed day. And Gabrielle Kerox says, you have yet to condemn Israel's genocide against the children of Gaza. Well, you have yet to start listening to the show. I've been condemning what's going on in Gaza this time and the times I've gone over there. One of the things that people always turns people off with their calls is when you attack people without information. And that's why I read it on the air. People that listen to this show know I've been saying I am against what Hamas did October 7th, and I am unilaterally against what is going on from Netanyahu in Gaza. I've been saying that for months now. But again, if you just tuned in 5 minutes before I came on the air to attack, I hope you're satisfied. A lot going on, and we need to talk about all of it. A lot of people concerned about how President Trump has now literally torn down the east wing of the White House to build his proposed ballroom. And the ballroom is, we were first told it was going to cost $200 million. Then we were told it was going to cost $250 million. Now it went up to $300 million. And just yesterday, now he's going to sue the government for over $200 million and said he was the decider of that. Why am I having this gnawing suspicion that all of this is flooding the zone so that we won't think about things like the Epstein trial and the Epstein tapes and matters? Well, let me give you a matter that nobody's talking about, which is why we had the march on Wall Street. Now, it says, this is in USA Today, and I'm reading it. It says, for a time once ironclad dominance, for a time, let me start it at the top of the paragraph. For a time, the once ironclad dominance of men, especially white men, in the corporate boardroom appeared to be slipping. Over the last 5 years, racial and ethnic representation rose 20%, and female representation 18%. In the last 5 years, since we came out of all of the protests, all of us were in the forefront of, we were able to get a rise in racial and ethnic representation in the boardrooms by 20%. and females by 18% in companies that included in the Russell 3000 index, meaning large corporations. According to data and analytics firm ISS-Corporate, today the boardrooms of the nation's largest companies have never been more diverse. But new data shows that the diversity, equity, and inclusion backlash, this is by Trump, is shifting boardroom demographics once again, eroding gains made by women and people of color as corporations hire white men at the fastest clip in years. This year, women accounted for a third of new board hires in the S&P 500, down from as high as 44% in 2022. ISS Corporate says executives of color made up 19% of new board hires, down from 44% in 2021. So let me break that down. In 2021, a year after George Floyd, a year as we was doing the protest and big march on Washington, march all over the world, blacks and other people of color were brought on boards at 44%. Now it's down to 19%. Now, why is that important, Reverend Al? I'm not, going to be a board member. The contracts, the donations, the decisions on what cities they're going to go into, all of these things, major corporations, are decided by the boards. If we are underrepresented in the boardrooms, we are underrepresented in the marketplace in terms of contracts, advertising, programs for employment, all of that is out. So when we say that this administration's battle on DEI is absolutely biased and counterproductive, and let me tell you something, it's not even good for the companies because the companies made more profit with diversity. Here's the data that comes out and proves that, and this was just put in the paper, USA Today study today. And I wanted to share some of that with you. And I think that sometimes we think this is just rhetoric. Sometimes I like to give the clear data, the facts, show you that we're not just talking. These people are absolutely unequivocally going backwards. Not only have they gone backwards on DEI, which was one of the main focuses of our March on Wall Street, August 28th, they've also gone back on voting rights, these ability to try and get the Supreme Court leaning against Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which would mean that they could change districts, boundary lines, and redistrict, where they could set up these various districts to where they could never have the minority again in the House of Representatives. And therefore they can do whatever they want to do with that. Amazing. Let's talk about that and a lot of other stuff in the news. I wanted to lead with that because I think it's important. In fact, I think it is very important. And the oral arguments of the Voting Rights Act is going to affect where life goes way, way down the road. And I think that it is amazing. Now, let me go also, we just saw this morning the Eastern District of New York and the FBI announced that they have arrested 31 people on federal gambling-related investigation. Chauncey Phillips and Miami Heat's Terry Rozier are among those, saying that the prosecutors are saying indictments against the Portland Trail Blazers head coach, and then of course Billups, who was Billups also was a Hall of Famer, and the Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, were more than 30 others across 11 states in a sweeping mafia-backed investigation into illegal sports gambling and poker rigging schemes. And for all of you that gamble, you might be a victim of a setup. And the shutdown cliff could hit Democrats hard. One source is saying the government shutdown drags on. SNAP, which feeds over 40 million Americans, is set to run out of funds by November 1st, forcing at least 25 states, including California, to plan benefit cuts while Democrats and Republicans remain deadlocked. It is outrageous. November 1st, they're going to run out of SNAP money. They're going to also see, and November 1st next week, y'all. And they're not even negotiating. Johnson wouldn't even bring them back to Washington to convene the Congress. It's a lot going on. I want to hear from you. And also in this halfway through the show today, we're going to talk on the radio with Hakeem Jeffries, and we'll have him on for a few minutes in about an hour and a half. So stay with me. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice. So I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
About the funding, but I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Black. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying, can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, that ACP would bring forward together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We gonna shine and we shade. Give me a papa God, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Thank you. Well, they said that we couldn't do it, but all the world can see that when we come together, when we rise above our differences, we can come and show an effort that no one can stop. Let us first salute Minister Louis Farrakhan for making a call that reached all of us and has shaken the world. Let me say this. When we hear the word today, when we leave here this evening, we are not leaving having had just a rally. We're going home to do some work. You think you see a crowd now, wait till we go home and get our sisters. You think you've seen something now, wait till we go home and get our mothers. The political story of '94 was the angry white man voted in a new Congress. Well, get ready, America, for the story of '96 when the enlightened black man brings in a new Congress. It's time for Mr. Gingrich and the angry white man who are angry at the wrong people. We are doubly unemployed. Why are you angry at us? Our icons are being demoralized. Why are you angry at us? So let the angry white man meet the enlightened black man that will join hands with other enlightened people and bring us another way. In '63, we had to march across the Red Sea, Reverend Wilson. Well, in '95, we are headed to the Jordan. We don't have to backtrack. We can go forward. And why are you so surprised we're here? Did you think that we would continue to watch our images put down? Look at what they did to people from Michael Jackson all the way across the board. That just because they were people of color were desecrated and demoralized. Well, now if we've learned, if we hold each other's hands, we can take care of our own Michael Jacksons. We can take care of our own young men. You see the brothers here, but what about the hundreds of thousands behind bars that couldn't come here? We got to stand up and free them too. OJ is home, but Mumi Abu Jamal ain't home. And we won't stop till all of our people that need a chance in an awkward and unbalanced criminal justice system can come home. I end by saying this. 1988, there was a preacher that ran for president named Pat Robertson. He got 2 million votes. There were those young people and ministers and others that took those 2 million votes and in 94 took America. Well, in 88, Jesse Jackson got 7 million votes. And his younger brothers and younger cousins can transform that with the energy given and mobilization given by Minister Farrakhan and others in leadership. And we can change 96. We can straighten out tricks in 96. We can straighten out tricks in 96 if we come alive in 95. So we joined the minister. We joined black men and black women and our leaders all over America saying, stand up, black man. I know it's hard to stand when you've been shackled, but stand up, black man. I know it's hard to stand when you've been beaten and bruised, but stand up, black man. Let your children, let your daughters, let them all over the world see us stand up together. We all live on one block. We may have different houses, but it's all the same block. Elijah Muhammad's house is on that block. Martin Luther King's house is on that block. Walana Karanga's house is on that block. But let me tell you something, when you set the block on fire, I don't have time to look at other houses' videos. It's time for all of us to come out together and save the block of black folk in America. Some of us will stand up and fight. Some of us won't switch. Some of us won't buckle a bow.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Some of us rather die on
I'm your
our feet
host,
than live on our knees.
Reverend Al
Thank you, God
Sharpton,
bless
and
you.
we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And Magnolia Brown is writing on our message board, who's running the National Park Service? They should have said, no, you cannot tear down the White House. I think you're right. And Lula Didell saying, I see it now. Thank you for telling me. And she's saying, thank you for telling me to Tricia Talifer saying, it's still real here in Kentucky. All right, and we're trying to get an update on whole food prices in 4 different states, Tricia said. I want to get all of that. Clearly, the promise of bringing inflation down, prices down, that Donald Trump promised, is not only not happened, it's gone the opposite way. And he promised he was going to bring prices down day one. He's been on now over 8 months, and prices have gone up. We've seen now the whole breaking of a lot of people's pocketbooks with the government shutdown. We've seen unemployment rise. Black unemployment went from at its tops under Biden-Harris, 6%, is now at 7.5%. We can have different opinions. We can have different facts. These are facts. These are the numbers. Numbers tell the story. And I think that in many ways that we need to really, really be clear. All right, let's go to the phones. A lot of callers, and I've already read some of the messages. Let me say, going to the phones, don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And you need to be at the TV and have your relatives and friends there, 5 p.m. Saturday, 5 p.m. Sunday. We are clearly in the middle of a shutdown. We're in the middle of this whole implication of tariffs. We're in the way of them bombing and targeting boats coming in South America, saying they're after Venezuelan drug dealers. And we see there's violence erupting again in Gaza, even though they say there's a peace agreement. And it's never stopped in Ukraine. A lot going on. And I'm going to have on members of the Senate. I'm going to have members of the Congress on. I'm going to have a governor on. You need to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. And also, you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut vicinity, meet me at the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem. You need to be there. You need to be active. Last Saturday, millions marched, and we supported it. Many of our chapters out there marching with No King's Day. This Saturday, don't say, okay, I did mine. I went to one rally in my life. No, you need to be consistent and persistent. Be at the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, in the village of Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television. Saturday is the first day of early voting in New York, so you definitely want to be there. Some are going to lead us from the rally to the polls to vote. And we see now that former Mayor Eric Adams, no, he's not former mayor, he's still mayor. Eric is still a mayor till January 1st, is endorsing Andrew Cuomo today against Ma'am Danny. That's interesting. He's going to endorse the former governor against Man Danny. Let's wait and see what happens. And Happiness Donuts sending lots of love and praying for a speedy recovery, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Keep hope alive. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Abby Phillips of CNN has written a book on his 84 and 88 campaign. Very good book. I was in Chicago Saturday night to speak at the celebration of his birthday and the book coming out. And I think I'm going to have Abby on Politics Nation this week. I think they're letting her do other stations to promote her book. And very good book. All right, let me go to the phones. Let me start with Rufus in Savannah, Georgia. Rufus.
All right.
Yes, you're on the air.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Reverend?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, okay. I was looking at that one of your commercials on there at the Million Man March.
Yep, 30 years ago.
And, yeah, boy, I'm gonna tell you, boy, you had that hair, boy. Lord have mercy, boy. That took me back right there, boy. You had that hair looking so good.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
Hey, boy, I ain't gonna tell you, Rep. I remember, boy, I done been in a whole lot of places. Like I told you, I met you first time at Reese Franklin concert, and man, I was in Harlem, and I went to the Million Man March. I went at that time, and man, I didn't do. But boy, when I saw that hair, how you had that hair laid. I said, Lord, I know I'm getting off the path, but I had to smile and laugh sometimes about things that I enjoyed and things that made me feel good. I saw you up there speaking, and yeah, but we really got to, man, try to just stay together. I've been trying to get back up there to New York. I've been sick for a while, and thank God, I've been kind of holding on. I'm a veteran,
Okay.
And yeah, and man, shoot, boy, these people don't understand about that health care, boy. You know how much they spent on me in 2 years. I had a spinal cord injury in my neck. Some people spent $700,000. I don't know how nobody who ain't got no insurance can even survive. I wouldn't even be living still now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's how important this healthcare stuff is. You're absolutely right. How can regular people even afford to live? And they're cutting back on these things. This is critical. Well, thank you for your call. And I'm glad I started with Rufus because people ask me all the time, do I screen the callers? And I said, no, ordinary people from all parts of the country call me. I don't know what they're going to say. But I want real people. Rufus is real people. I don't want, tell me what you're going to say. Well, no, let me give you this data. No, I don't do that kind of show. I do what the name of the show says. I keep it real. Now, I'm not going to have you get on here cussing. I'm not going to have you get in here saying something derogatory against somebody's sex, gender, or race. But other than that, it's keeping it real. You know why I'm comfortable with it? Because that's what I do. We'll be right back, keeping it real. Sharpton, right after this. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, the call-in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real. with Sharpton. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Now Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Then we go to Harlem Connection. Wrote something on our message board at nationalactionnetwork.net. Live stream Harlem Connection Friday nights on WBAI Radio. Says, Rev, please say it again. Corporations made record. He put it in capital letters, record profits with DEI. They weren't doing us any favors. DEI is good business. Racism isn't. Is the GOP anti-capitalism now? Good question. Great statement, factual statement. Thank you for that missive. Let's go to Ray on the telephone line. Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ray on the buzz.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call, Rev. I want to bring up something that I saw you on Nicole Walters' show the other day with Steve Smith. Now, before I ask you this question, does MAGA is a movement, and do you think it started with Trump, or it was a long time in the making?
It was in the making. I think that you can go back as far as the Tea Party, then the birth of movement. All of that led into MAGA, and it probably goes back even before that, the silent majority. They always had the conservative groups that would be focused on trying to break the gains of blacks and others, break civil rights, voting rights. They came by different names in other eras, but they're the same people. Same thought in terms of being the same people.
Yeah. Okay, now, so I'm assuming that Trump is the figurehead, but these Republican, the senators and Congress didn't act the way, with, years in the making, long before Trump came. It's almost like Trump brought out the racism in a lot of people, and had it been any other Republican that won the presidency, they probably would have played it fair and square like they've had in past years. Now, my question is, when Trump leaves office and he no longer has the power over these senators and these Congress people, I was always under the impression that things will go back to normal. But then I heard Steve Smith say, and maybe he was talking to me, but Steve Smith said, if you think, not you, but just in general, that MAGA is going to go away when Trump leaves office, you're a fool. And maybe I was one of those fools because I think that Trump holds, with Trump's influence and his money, and because he is the president, that's why he's controlling these senators and these Congress people. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on it, and thank you for your call, Ray. My take on it is that as I said in your first question, that the whole idea of rolling back voting rights, rolling back civil rights, rolling back rights and civil liberties for others, including, of course, blacks, browns, women, the rest, has always been a movement in this country. It has just grown. Now, I think what enhanced it, since you asked the question, is that when blacks started getting in real power, the numbers grew. And a charismatic figure exploits the growth. I think that Trump got in front of a parade and became the cult leader of it. Because I honestly, it's interesting you brought this up, Ray. I honestly believe that Donald Trump was a backlash to 2 terms of Barack Obama. And those that could not get their head around a black man being president and performing at the level he did, and putting in policies like Affordable Care Act, like calling police into accountability, and other things. I think that if Obama had not been president, Trump probably would not have won that in 2008. I think he came back in 20 as a backlash to a black woman. He only won by a point and a half, 1.5%. So I think that Trump didn't start racism, misogyny, xenophobia, but he capitalized on it, personified it, and they saw him as the one that had enough nerve and guts to stand up for them, so they didn't care how flawed he was. He was speaking the things that they felt. You gotta understand, if somebody's grandma raised them that they're superior because they're white, because they're male, because they are not gay, they believe that. Most of us believe what our grandparents and our parents told us. So he came back to something that resonated with them, as wrong as it is. And I think that that's what Smith was speaking to. Now, will they have the same numbers and the same kind of sway without Trump? Maybe, maybe not if they don't have a charismatic leader, and it's according to who's on the opposition. But I really believe that we're being naive if we don't think that race was a factor. Maybe not the only factor, but a factor. As close as those elections were, I think race was a factor. Let's go to P-Dub. P-Dub in Los Angeles. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
I do hear you, yes.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. I would like to comment on his first term. First thing he did is he traveled around the world to see all the dictators from these authoritarian countries. all of them. He didn't see anybody that were allies to America. And I think that's what has influenced him to build this town hall, as he calls it, because every time he goes to those Muslim nations and visits these guys, they show him these outrageous, lavish palaces and rooms. He wants to be like them. He even wanted to throw that parade with all the military.
Yeah, he did throw it. Nobody showed up to watch it, but he had it. You're right.
Right. I think he takes all his playbooks, or he takes the playbook from these gangster movies like the Godfather, when they were saying that most criminal enterprises realize they have to get assets into government. Kids that go to college, they support them, they put them in there, and they know once you get a judgeship or a congressman, you're loyal to them. And I think he owes a lot of these other countries for getting him in office here. This guy is crooked. Nothing good can come from him. I don't understand why people don't get that. Absolutely nothing good can come from Trump.
I think you're right. Thank you for your call. I see Evangelist Ramsey wrote on the message board, "Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. We just finished our 95th DEI rally. Good turnout. Also stopped by Second Chance, 125th Street. Good information there as well. Thank you again for all you do for the people." Thank you, Evangelist Ramsey, faithful and loyal, and one of our superior activists in the country, not only New York. And she's talking about the 95th week that Nan has marched on Bill Ackman's office, who is the architect and financer of the anti-DEI. Reverend Malcolm Boyd, our COO, led the march today. We've had some staff changes. So Reverend Boyd, Reverend Byrd, and Reverend Marshall are going to be out there leading. We ain't going to stop because of staff changes. We have got to keep this movement going. Too much at stake. Let's go to Woody in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Woody, WURD. You're keeping it real with Sharpton.
Great. I'm very glad you're keeping it real, Reverend, because you are keeping it real.
Thank you.
The thing that I wanted to talk about was this White House issue, and having the room put there for a lavish room for all these affairs. You can't dance and have affairs every day. So during the day, I would love to be able to say, go back to what Trump said in the beginning. He went right to, that's how he won African Americans. What the hell you got to lose? Your schools are messed up. Can't get money from banks, gentrified out your neighborhoods. Why not be able during the day to have, since he knows the schools are messed up, to have that place in the White House become an example of kids learning about the White House. How many presidents, who was there, who did what. You see, all of that would become an educational venue during the day, and the kids could have from different schools and places coming in and out of there. You know, you get a class trip over to the White House. I just think that would be very educational. I'm not saying that he's going to do it, but could we say something about this place and make some suggestions? Could the public do that since we're paying for it?
I think, thank you for your call. I think that Donald Trump is not interested in educating any children about anything. I think I understand your point. I think you've always been solid in what you say, but the presumption is that Donald Trump cares about any of that, educating our people. But thank you for your call. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Church, I want to present to you a man of God, a man of his community, the Reverend Howard Hundley. Put your hands together. Yes, I am. Trouble don't last always. I'm so glad. Yes, I am. Trouble don't last always. Can I get a witness? I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest, who could run around the pulpit more, or who got the dresses fancy, and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. Some people report the news, others interpret it, but there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight, we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate, or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true.
Oh, Sharpton.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. I've been on the phones, and I'm telling you, don't miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton this weekend. 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. You're not going to want to miss this. In the middle of all this going on, government shutdown, SNAP running out in about 10 days, SNAP funds. Government workers working, not being paid, and there is even some question whether You know, some agencies are threatening not to pay them. So much going on. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. We need to really be informed. That's why I'm having members of Congress on. I'm going to have members of the Senate on and some governors this weekend. I want to dig deep into this. A week after No King's March, we got to keep the pressure on. In fact, in the next hour, I'll be talking right on this show with Hakeem Jeffries. I told him I need to talk to him a few minutes on the radio show, and he'll probably be on the weekend as well, among others. But this is important that we stay informed. So make sure you watch and you spread the word. I need you to make sure everybody you know, pardon me, that you know that weekends is a time to recharge. That's why some people go to church, some people do other things, some people do entertainment. Recharge with knowledge and information. Don't recharge by going into a lot of frivolous stuff, because life's going to meet you Monday morning, and it shouldn't meet you uninformed. So watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 on MSNBC. Then, you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me at the Saturday Action Rally. I'm already geared up. I'm already working on what I need to say and report. I want you to be there with me. I'm there every Saturday, but this Saturday, I want you to be there particularly. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can meet me live. You can listen and watch live. We're live on Impact Television, the only black-owned national gospel television network in the country, or you can watch it live on our on our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, let me go back to the phone. Let me get to my friend Brian, Disco Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD. But Disco Brian, how you doing today?
I'm much better now that I'm speaking to the most important voice anywhere in media. So thank you for having me on, Rev. Real quick, have you heard about the new Italian series Mussolini, Son of the Century?
No. What's that?
Rev, it is a masterpiece. It's artwork. It's literally Trump's blueprint. It is a nightmare. So it's a horror movie. It's on Mubi, and I believe it's on Amazon Prime. So it's an artistic rendering of Mussolini, how he rose to power. Let's just say I saw how it ends. This is a spoiler. It ends with the word silence. It's eight episodes, and it ends with Mussolini looking into the camera and going silence, because that's what everyone did when they had multiple opportunities to make him go away. So that's just a lesson.
Now, is this fictional or is it real?
It is zero fiction. It is brilliant, Rev. It is on par with Loudmouth in the artistic rendering. Mussolini, Son of the Century. Everybody watch it.
All right.
And I know we have tons of stuff to watch. Rev, you still have to watch my videos. But anyway, Rev, I just launched a change.org petition. It's called Make It Official. NYC's next mayor must hold regular conversations with Reverend Al Sharpton and Don Lemon. It's calling on whoever wins the 2025 mayoral race, Mamdani Cuomo or Silwa, to commit to an ongoing public dialogue with you and Don Lemon, just like Governor Phil Murphy does with his Ask the Governor segment on WNYC.
Mm-hmm.
And Rev, please, so spread that around. Again, it's called Make It Official on change.org. Rev, please invite Karine Jean-Pierre here. She needs to talk to someone with a moral core instead of the clickbait white guys like Tim Miller and Stephen Colbert. And Rev, I have admired those guys, okay? Both of them showed more frustration with this beautiful queer black woman than they ever showed with Mamdani. And I just want to know what's up with that.
Well, I didn't see.
Karine,
what did they say? What happened?
Karine reminds them, and Rev, it's just heartbreaking, and I'm a nonviolent person, and I got rattled. She reminds them of what the Biden-Harris administration actually did. It forestalled the so-called 2022 red wave. Remember that, Rev? Remember how that was supposed to happen?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Karine reminds us Biden-Harris made sure that didn't happen, that they fought for democracy every single day. And she stood by Biden's message, although nobody wanted to hear it at the time. I was trying to tell friends and family that all of his speeches were, if Obama had delivered them, everyone would have been lapping them up. And he warned us that our institutions, our decency, and our truth, all of it, were under threat. But Rev, what did Miller and Colbert do? They treated that beautiful woman like an inconvenience to their cynicism. Because, Rev, I've found something out. These comedians, these white guys who want to talk down to black women in the Democratic coalition, they don't know how to do empathy, Rev. And you know, they're great for a joke, but they're not good for getting serious. Meanwhile, they fawn over Mamdani and Bernie and Hassan Piker and all the far-left influencers who are openly undermining our coalition. Tim Miller, Rev, his brow furrowed in anger. He scolds Karine. He says, we needed an opposition that was up to the existential threat. And to him I say, yes, Tim, we did. We did need an opposition that stood up, not to Biden, but for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
An opposition that should have done for Biden, go with me here, Rev, what Republicans did for Reagan in '84. Remember that, Rev?
I do.
So I'm just saying, Rev, Beyonce did it, Lady Gaga did it, Taylor Swift did it. They endorsed Biden, and then they endorsed Kamala. But Jon Stewart, Colbert, Tim Miller, and those pod bros, they collapsed over a bad debate. And Rev, where have debates gotten us lately? Hillary and Kamala, didn't they beat Trump in the debates, Rev?
I think that's clearly the truth, yes.
And how did those wins for our team turn out? I mean, obviously that's a rhetorical question. But, Rev, I'm not here to make anybody hate anyone. I'm speaking to Brother Jihad in the Sage of the South. He said that I was trying to get you to hate somebody. And you know, Rev, that would be a fool's errand because I know your Savior instructs us to love even our enemies. But here's the question for you, Rev. Does loving our enemies or friends mean letting them off the hook? Or does it mean holding them accountable because we love truth more than comfort?
Well, I think that.
See, Rev,
I think we have
go
to
ahead,
have.
go ahead.
I think we have to have truth over comfort. But I think there's also got to be a way that we need to deal with all of this, and we need to deal with it in a way that we are showing people a better way, not just condemning them and beating them down for the way they are.
See, I'm anti-hate. I'm anti-Islamophobia. I'm anti-anti-Semitism. I'm anti-Christian nationalism, all of it. But we have to name the ideological rot wherever it lives, even and especially when it lives inside our coalition. And so almost everybody on the message board, Rev, agrees with you and me and Antoine that Rashida Tlaib and Bernie Sanders are at least dangerous, and that we must protect and uplift Kamala Harris. But whenever I bring up Zoran, when I mention his constant promotion of DSA and the money pipelines that lead back to him, and why Leader Jeffries, Greg Meeks, Schumer, Richie Torres, Dan Goldman all refuse to endorse him, suddenly they don't want to hear me. I'm annoying, and I'm beating a dead horse. They tell me, let New York City figure that out, Brian. And I say, no, that's not how this works. We're all in this together. When Maddow asked Kamala if she would endorse Mamdani, Kamala said very clearly, I support the Democrat in the race. Sure. She didn't name his name because she knows, Rev. Hakeem Jeffries knows. Meeks, Torres, Goldman, they all know. They haven't endorsed Mamdani for a reason. And it's not because of AIPAC. It's because there's an entire other pipeline of money from Qatar and China shaping the populist left, and Mamdani never seems to talk about that. So please sign the petition, Nan family. Change.org. Make it official. New York City's next mayor must hold regular conversations with Reverend Al Sharpton and Don Lemon. I love you, Rev. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you for your call, as always. Let's take a break. We will be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
Teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
Okay, I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly it, or if they show you how to fly it, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one
man should have, the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top, and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside. And the only way to do that is everybody to get up and work by the sweat of their brow in America and try to produce, be productive like these two gentlemen have been in their life against all odds. They came up in a world that was alien to them, and they made it. And we can make it if we have the same initiative they did.
Mr. Sharpton, it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, and I've enjoyed meeting you very much. Thank you for coming by, and thank you, James Brown, for being with us again. Thank you for being here tonight.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young
that's
lady.
going to perform with you.
Yes.
You lie. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com. The Rev Al. Twitter.com. The Rev Al. James Thomas is on our message board saying, at the end of the day, the Keeping It Real chat room is a table of justice because our eyes have to be on the prize every time, because there are some folks who are trying to erase our history. There is no doubt about that. You got that straight up right, Brother James. Thank you for that. We're joined as we are every Thursday at this time, the last 90 minutes of the show, the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies in New York, Vice Chairman of the National Board of National Action Network, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing, Jenny?
Reverend, I'm doing okay, Reverend Sharpton. I'm glad to be on, as I always am, with you and with all of your listeners. Honored to be on.
I started the show a little over an hour ago, quoting this USA Today article that appeared today, saying that the DEI, for a time right after George Floyd and all of our movements around that, that the ironclad dominance of men, I'm reading it directly from the article because I want you to comment on it. The ironclad dominance of men, especially white men, in the corporate boardroom appeared to be slipping. Over the last 5 years, racial and ethnic representation rose 20%, and female representation 18% in companies, including in the Russell 3000 index. According to data and analyst firm ISS Corporate Today, the boardrooms of the nation's largest companies have never been more diverse. But new data shows that the diversity, equity, and inclusion backlash is shifting boardrooms' demographics once again, eroding gains made by women and people of color as corporations hire white men at the fastest clip in years. This year, women accounted for a third of new board hires in the S&P 500, down from a high of 44%. In 2022, ISS Corporate says executives of color made up 19% of new board hires, down from 44% in 21. So women have gone down from a high as 44% in terms of being hired to boards. People of color, and most of them black, have gone from 44% in 21 down to 19%. So this whole, they wonder why we marched on Wall Street and why we march every week at the offices of Bill Ackman. There is actual data that shows this backlash is real. It ain't just Trump tweeting. Now, what I also pointed out, and I want you to comment on, is that we look at the board seats not as an individual. If we're in the board, that means contracts, that means distribution, that
Yes.
means employment, that means promotion, that means C-suite, that means where philanthropy goes. Board seats dictate the policies of those companies. We're consuming for companies with no voices and now diminishing voices in the boardrooms. What are the implications of that for our community, for people on the ground?
So to your point, a board director's role, and keep in mind, first and foremost, that board directors actually get paid and get paid handsomely. You can serve on a company board. It doesn't have to be a publicly traded company. You can serve on the board and you can make easily $200,000 serving on a board in addition to your day job. If you are on a publicly traded board, you can make, like literally some boards $1 million. So first and foremost, keep in mind that these are lucrative positions. So when black people are being exercised from these boards, they're actually losing significant money. That's the first and foremost. But the responsibility of a board director is to essentially provide input into the strategic direction, oversee the operations, make sure that the company, the corporation, is responding to legal obligations, legal mandates. They're supposed to ensure that the company is acting in a way that acting with integrity and is responsive to essentially like corporate social responsibility. What's happening right now is there is no such thing. All rules are are off the table. And when Donald Trump put a sledgehammer to DEI, what it said to corporations was you can go back to doing what you were doing once before. And, engaging in cronyism, engaging in nepotism, and essentially not putting black people on the board if you don't really want them there. Black people were sitting at the table and saying, hey, if you're going to get significant profits from the black community, say it's a product that's being delivered or a service that is being delivered, we need to be representative in the company, in the hiring, in the actual how the goods are thought about, the services, how they're provided. We need to have a say in that. If they're not at the table, then we're going to go back to seeing products that may be forced upon us that are not necessarily in our best interest. We're going to see, you could have, let's say, let's take a pharmaceutical company. You could have them advancing products that have been shown to be, have a significant impact on the black community. Maybe they're advancing healthcare products that are not affordable or you cannot get them with Medicaid or Medicare. And so if they're not producing products that will come through and, we'll have generic pharmaceutical offerings or the like, then they'll be out of our budgets to be able to buy them. So we may not get the health care we need. You may see a situation where companies are they're kind of targeting white communities with certain of their products. And so they forget about the black community, the people who manufacture the goods. You could see where you had a board of directors that was diverse sitting at the table saying, wait a minute, we need to make sure that when we are doing contracts for construction, contracts for pensions, contracts for just the production of goods and services, we need to be working with a diverse group of people. People sitting on the board who are diverse actually raise those issues. If there's nobody at the table, now all of a sudden you may see that black designer, right, that black architectural firm, right, that black construction firm doesn't really get a look anymore. So then when they don't get a look, the people that they have that they staff to actually work with them to do the work, whether it's building buildings or it's manufacturing goods, they lose out. So it has this ripple effect. It's not simply that if the board is no longer, you don't have black people on the board bringing home their $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, but it trickles all the way down to the goods and services that are delivered by people who might have gotten contracts or who would have benefited from the goods and services produced by the company.
All right, let's take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones Austin. Be right back.
It's time for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex, a new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't pride by what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
Hey, what's up? They're doing, thank you. They're doing What's on Your Mind? Yeah. All right, then, we got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got to tell Brother Bird, be ready, Daniel, 5th chapter, I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9. And we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males? That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. Let's go to the phones, Jenny. Let me go to Cincinnati, Ohio, the buzz to Nettie. Nettie, my friend Nettie, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I just want to let you know I am still listening here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and beautiful Lincoln Heights, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I love it.
I just want to let you know I am listening. Your topics are good. Oh, my God. I don't want to, but I'm going to say that to you, okay?
I love it. I appreciate it. I need that encouragement. Thank you. Let me go to Germany. Go across the water to the big pond and to Germany. Talk to Brother Rick. Rick, you keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good day, Brother Sharpton.
Good day.
And good day to the lady, your guest on the line. Please state your name for me.
Jennifer Jones Austin is her name.
Jennifer Jones Austin. Miss Austin, I'm going to need a lawyer if I set foot on American soil again. But I wanted to talk about Trump. Trump represents hatred of women, the poor in general, gays in specific, and the disabled. Then Native American, Negroes, and then the immigrants as Mexican, Hispanic, Islamic, and African and Asians fresh off the plane the past 60 years. The evil wealthy, and I want to be clear, having wealth does not make you a bad person, but the evil wealthy will fund a man to represent these hatreds when Trump is long gone from the scene. Reverend Sharpton, Miss Jennifer Jones Austin, you need to talk not only of the threat to voting rights, but the computerized voting machines and the rigging, the possible rigging of these machines for both Democrat and Republican, depending on who the wealthy approve. Brother man, I'm out of wind and I'm done.
All right, thank you for your call. I think, Jenny, that one of the things that is interesting to me, and one of our listeners wrote it on our message board, is that, and one caller said it, that when you have monarchs and autocrats, they like to erect various buildings and statues and ornaments to worship them. And that's how they read in the middle of a shutdown. where government employees are unstable in terms of their finances at best, you decide to use that time to go ahead and start the demolition of the east wing of the White House to build your ballroom. I mean, this is straight out of fascist countries. This is straight out of, in biblical times, with the kings, with the ultimate power, with their huge palaces. He's going to redo the palace while people's health care is laying in abeyance in just a couple of days, and premiums may go up. Talk about that.
Moment. You remember that line, Marie Antoinette? She was the queen, with one of the kings in England, and she said, let them eat cake, and she was referring to her, it was like her indifference for the poor. She didn't care anything about them as they were suffering and struggling. And she was like, be done with them. Or maybe she was French. It was French. And she was tied to the French king, and she said, let him eat cake. That's what Trump is doing right now. Trump literally, and just think about this for a moment. Trump is threatening to hold more food support for people who struggle to put food on the table. Threatened to hold back $60 billion in food supports if they don't end the shutdown, trying to, come hard for the Democrats and put it at their feet and say, if you don't come back to the table, I'm going to keep $60 billion worth of food from reaching the tables of low-income people, while erecting what they're saying is estimated now to be, $300 million?
Yeah, he said himself yesterday
he
needs $300 million. Started at $200 million, went to $250, now it's up to $300 million. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio. Raj, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Jones Austin.
Hey, Reverend Jenny, how you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, Ray, he was asking when did you think the whole MAGA thing started by another name? Yeah, you're right. It goes way back. It goes back, in various forms, but I'll say very, as far as being relevant, I would say the Nazis, they decided, they would have to take America down by economics and politics even before the war ended, and that was Hitler's generals. And then you had after civil rights, the backlash against the civil rights movement. There's a guy that wrote a book, Chris Caldwell, America Since the 60s, the Age of Entitlement. And they decided that the civil rights movement cost white America, mainstream America, money. It just cost them money that they thought they shouldn't have to use to fund, to expand the government for blacks. And the evangelicals was part of that too. But I ain't gonna hold you then. But I want to say I ain't gonna say magic number, but that number is real. 3,565,000 legal votes were rejected, and had they been counted, Kamala would have won the 4 major states that would have got her the election. The 286 delegates was Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. But that's already been that's
why they're trying to change the voting district lines so that they can maintain the House and maintain the electoral process. I think that is absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. Thank you for your call, Rod. Jenny, one of the things that I think that is the challenge. One caller mentioned Corinne Jean-Pierre's book, where she's now left the Democratic Party and gone independent, saying that she was outraged at how they acted, the Democrats in 24 toward Biden and other things. And then you have, I think that is interesting. And I'm going to have Corinne on my show. I'm going to have Abby Phillips on my show on She wrote a book on Reverend Jackson's 84-88 run and what it means today. But I think that we've got to be very clear that as we look at these different analysis and theories, and they're good and sound, and we ought to argue them out and debate them in our head, we also must deal with the fact that the debate and the arguing becomes futile if they undercut our rights to vote. We're arguing about nothing because we will not be able to execute anything. So I think what we first must do is fight and preserve the right to vote and the protections of those rights. And then we can debate about what we do with the vote. But right now, they're trying to dilute the vote no matter what your case may be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the only thing that I would say, Reverend Sharpton, is that some of the challenge that we have when people, and maybe this is adding to what you're saying, when we start getting into what party with which you're affiliated, that's actually in some ways also kind of furthering what the aim and intent is of the people who are trying to take away our votes. You know, the greater division that you can sow, the further you diminish the vote, even if you have it. And so you need to center on preservation of the vote at all costs, and then we can talk about how you're going to use it. They want us to be divided and say, what is the point to begin with anyway? And so then you're centered more on, is my vote worth anything, rather than my vote is worth an absolute lot. And that's why I need to get in line, get in place, and actually be a part of the efforts, the lawsuits, the actions, the lobbying, the advocacy to keep the vote alive.
Let's go to Norm in DeSantisburg, Florida. Norm.
Hey, Reverend, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm fine. I wanted to talk about this administrative state and bureaucracy and those sort of things, but there's something that came up recently here in Tampa where we had a man. This was a story. It said a man was arrested for pointing a laser at a helicopter. Okay? And so the police were looking for a guy, and they were looking as a suspect. And they, while they were flying, maybe about 2 or 3 miles, a laser was pointed or flashing around. So they went to the site of the laser, and they pointed where this laser beam had come from. And so they went to the person's house, and it turns out that when they knocked on the door, a lady came to the door. This lady lady works for us and is a pharmacy tech. And she came to the door, and she had her kids. And what happened was that the police said, "Is there a man here with a man standing?" She said, "No." And then they saw a little 13-year-old boy. They said, "Who's that?" And they said, "That's her son." And they arrested him.
Wow.
And put it on his name, Angel Lesson. And they arrested this kid and kept him for 12 hours. And now they called over here at work, at his work, the mother at work, and said, "Okay, we want you to, we charge him with a felony. We want you to take all these courses and these classes so we can excuse the felony." I mean, and we're saying, don't do that. You know, you got to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely get a lawyer.
What's happening down here? And it is on the internet too. I mean, they put this video fashion of this kid, put his name in there, named Angel, put his date of birth in there, and also put his address on there.
Yeah.
Wow. On there, and you can see this on TikTok and those sort of things.
Wow. All right, thank you for your call. Let me take my break.
All right.
Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
So who is Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, "The two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born." I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Rev,
You know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at that time at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, but I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question.
Yep.
What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the hair on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. So we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would put forward together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back to this stuff.
This is where it all starts.
How are you?
Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, family.
Reverend Al Sharpton. You're live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797. Let me go to the live line, because in the middle of all of these, the shutdowns, and many of you around the country directly impacted, and all of us indirectly, I had reached out to our minority leader of the House, Hakeem Jeffries, who has been a member of National Action Network for many years, and we know each other well. And I reached out to him because I wanted him to spend a few minutes on the air to give us an update of where we are or where we are not in terms of the shutdown. And I'm also concerned when I heard about the arrest of a man planning his death. So I wanted to also, we rallying around that on Saturday at the Saturday Action Rally, having ministers pray for Hakeem Jeffries. As one who was stabbed and has gone through a lot of death threats, I take all that seriously. So I have on the live line from Washington, D.C., the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries. How you doing, Mr. Congressman?
Good afternoon, Rev. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. Where are we with this shutdown?
So this is day 23 of the Trump Republican shutdown, and unfortunately, we continue to see inaction from House and Senate Republicans. In fact, House Republicans have now been on vacation for 4 consecutive weeks. They've canceled votes 4 consecutive weeks and don't appear to want to come back into town next week. We've repeatedly made clear as Democrats in the House and the Senate that we're willing to sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, either at the Capitol or back at the White House, to reopen the government, to find a bipartisan path forward toward enacting a spending agreement that makes sense for the American people, but it has to make life better for the American people, including in addressing the health care crisis that Republicans have created, which is devastating people all across the country, including in black and brown communities, working class communities, rural America, urban America, small town America, and the heartland of America.
Now, November 1st, we're going to be facing SNAP becoming expired in many households. We're going to be facing the premiums going up in terms of health care, affordable health care. I mean, are people in Washington on the other side of the aisle cognizant of the fact that this is going to impact even their own constituents?
Yeah, they certainly know that, but they don't seem to care. This is the same group of people who promised to love and cherish Medicaid at the beginning of the year, Donald Trump's own words, and instead they turned around and enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. They're closing hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health centers in their communities, as well as throughout many parts of America. In that same one big ugly bill, they cut $186 billion from the SNAP program. Literally, Rev, they took food out of the mouths of hungry children and seniors and veterans and women and families, and they did all of this so they could reward their billionaire donors with massive tax breaks that they made permanent. And now, as you pointed out, when we're facing the significant likelihood that on November 1st, when open enrollment begins, that tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased health care premiums because Republicans refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Cruelty is the point for these extremists on the other side of the aisle, even when it comes to hurting the same people that they, in fact, represent.
Now, let me ask you, how are you doing in the wake of these threats? I know your family well, and in fact, I went to your father's wake in Ohio, and I've been concerned about, I know you and those of us in public life expected, but it's a real trauma on your wife, your children, your mother. How's everybody faring and dealing with these legitimate threats?
Well, thank you, Rev, for your support and for the prayers and for organizing members of the clergy on my behalf, on behalf of the family and the community. We're all very appreciative for your leadership, of course. And, you know, unfortunately, in this moment of great political violence in this country, it is something that we have come to expect. It's not easy on the family and, you know, loved ones and community members, and I'm appreciative of everybody reaching out. But we're not going to bend. We're not going to break. We're not going to bow down. We're not going to be intimidated by these extremists. That's what they want us to do. They want to try to throw us off course, and we're not going to allow it to happen. You know, one of the things that I think everybody needs to know about this particular situation is that it highlights the fact that on Donald Trump's first day in office, he pardoned hundreds of violent felons who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. That's what he did. And then he released these people, including this individual who, was prepared to try to assassinate me. He released these people into communities all across the country, and many of them have already engaged in reoffenses, committed crimes in neighborhoods all throughout America. And Republicans have almost uniformly supported those pardons. And this is a party, Republicans, that want to pretend as if they care about law and order. Of course, they're all about lawlessness and disorder. And this was just another in a continuing set of examples. I'm thankful to state and local law enforcement, of course, for their swift efforts. But most importantly, we're going to continue to stand up for the American people, for their health, for their public safety, and for their economic well-being in terms of making sure that everybody has an opportunity to live a comfortable life.
I need to ask you this. You and I and Senator Schumer and Greg Meeks, others have not endorsed in the local mayor's race. I understand that Mayor Adams is endorsing Andrew Cuomo today. We've had, all of us individually, conversations with Mandani and others. Do you expect to make any endorsement? Early voting starts Saturday.
Yeah, early voting starts on Saturday. I do hope to talk to our Democratic nominee at some point, either late today or tomorrow, in advance of early voting. I do think that his decision, I didn't see the debate yesterday. I do look forward to watching some clips. I do think that his decision to announce that he would reappoint Commissioner Jessica Tisch is a positive step in the right direction in terms of sending the message that while he's going to, of course, focus on affordability, and that is the number one concern of the people in the communities that I represent, and some things really need to be done, particularly in black and brown communities, which have suffered under the crushing weight of gentrification and displacement in neighborhoods like Bedford-Stuyvesant and Harlem for far too long. And that's going to be important, and that's at the top of his agenda. But also that public safety, of course, will continue to be important in communities throughout the city of New York. And I think it's reassuring to a lot of folks that he wants to continue the current leadership at One Police Plaza with respect to the NYPD.
All right, hold 1 second. Jenny, you on Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin that co-hosts the last hour every Thursdays with us. You have a question for the Minority Leader.
Good afternoon, Minority Leader Jeffries. Always good to hear your voice and to know that you're down there fighting for us. Very simple question. In this moment, what should we, those of us who are sitting around saying, how do we engage, how do we support your leadership, how do we support the fighting back? What should we be doing in this moment?
Yeah, well, Jennifer, thank you. So good to hear your voice and appreciate your leadership in Brooklyn, of course, our beloved Brooklyn, as well as the city of New York and beyond. I think one of the things that we want to emphasize over the next few days, next few weeks, is that as people begin to get information, notices that their health care premiums are going to skyrocket, we want to elevate those stories because we're fighting for all of you, and this is a very real crisis. And we're urging everyone, call your member of Congress and share with them what your current health care costs are and what they are expected to be because of the refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. And by the way, that's going to affect everybody, both people who are on the ACA and people who get their insurance from their employers. Everybody is about to face significant increases in their insurance costs. And we want people to share those stories with their members of Congress. Myself, of course, back at home in Brooklyn, reach out to me. I'm at the Shirley Chisholm State Office building. Everybody, I think, who represents me, who I represent, knows how to reach us. But we want to be able to elevate these stories in the midst of this Trump Republican shutdown so we can further illustrate why we are fighting to address this Republican health care crisis. And then if you live in New Jersey, if you live in Virginia, or Pennsylvania, you've got some important races that are on the ballot on November 4th. Make sure you exercise your right to vote. Donald Trump wants to suppress your ability to participate in the democratic process, but you have the ability to go out and make clear to the country that this is a national nightmare and we want to turn things in a different direction. And then, of course, lastly, if you live in California, you have Prop 50 on the ballot. I was out at black churches on Sunday of this most recent weekend campaigning, yes, on Prop 50, so we can stop Trump from stealing the election and make sure there are fair congressional maps.
All right. Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries. As I said at Saturday's rally here and Detroit, we'll be praying for the family. I think we're trying to get you on Politics Nation one night this weekend to get the update. We'll be in touch. Thank you for coming on. We will be right back after the break.
Thank you, sir.
Going back to the phones with you, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you?
Yeah, she's going to.
1, 2, 3, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored.
All right.
We have a short visit today. So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It was one of the slave houses.
Sir, you've been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine.
Good. Right, so that's and we
Alexander Shaw. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
I just the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked into my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people come too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And where I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy had helped him push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, do you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But no. All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of Reverend America. Sharpton, Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin is our co-host. Jenny, I really, first of all, am serious about keeping the Jeffries family in prayer. I know how mine reacts when we get these threats, and I constantly get them. In fact, right after Charlie Kirk was killed, we doubled up my security here because there was rumors that they were looking for revenge with any high-profile figures. But at the same time, I think that the gravity of what we're facing in this shutdown and this November 1st deadline, I think it was important for he himself to come on Black Radio and Sirius, as well as our live stream, and talk about the gravity of that, because he has to balance the Democratic caucus. And I know people want him to, throw up his fist and holler, but he's got to be able to keep the moderate Democrats and the others together and go through this, but at the same time communicate to the public. And I thought that it was important, and he came on and he did just that. I think he's also going to be doing Politics Nation with me this weekend. But talk about how I think people sometimes, and I think unfortunately, get caught up more in the theatrics of leadership than the actual function so we can get something done.
Right. One of the things that you've helped me to appreciate is that sometimes we want our leaders to do everything, or we want them to respond immediately in the way that we think that they should respond, without appreciating that sometimes they have to play, the long game. We might want them to give a quick like knee-jerk reaction. I hear a lot of people often talk about, why don't the Democrats just hit the Republicans hard, or, say more like get dirty, if you will, get dirty the way the Republicans get. And I think that what we see time and time again in Leader Jeffries and several others is that they're centering on the people and the long game and how to play policy while having to navigate politics, how to play policy as it concerns everyday people's lives while having to, dance with people who will do other people dirty. And I think that Hakeem Jeffries, Minority Leader Jeffries, is doing his very best at that, and we just have to really trust in this particular moment when we look at the side of the aisle that doesn't seem to care less that people are going to go without food, that people will have a harder time paying for health care. And we're talking about millions of Americans. We're talking about better than half the country that before they were, facing increased premiums on health care or loss of health care coverage completely, or facing the possibility of losing their food supports. They were already struggling to pay their housing, to pay their rent, to pay their transportation. So there's got to be somebody who's not just mudslinging, but is really paying attention to the needs of the people.
Well, and I think that the mudslinging, as you put it, has the role of setting a climate. I've always said, Martin Luther King Jr. used to say that you have those leaders that are transformative and those that are transactional. And you have, I think the way King put it is, you have thermometers and you have thermostats. Thermometers judge the temperature in the room and tries to deal with it. Thermostats are people that see the temperature in the room and turns the heat up to make it hotter. I'm on the thermostat side,
right?
But we need the thermometer side, and because the idea is to get the work done, and I think that Hakeem is doing that. I also thought it was very interesting that he gave I think an implication that he's leaning toward not supporting Andrew Cuomo following Mayor Adams today, and that he was going to be talking to Zoran Mandani tonight.
I think that was very positive because, if the polls are correct, then Zoran Mamdani will be the next mayor of the city of New York. And we need a joined-up approach of our New York City mayor, our state governor, and our congressional leader, our minority leader, to, help us, defend this city. And I'm using the word defend intentionally. We've got a president who's not only putting his thumb on the scale, but putting his whole body on the scale, saying that if Mamdani is elected, that he's going to withhold federal funding. Now, he doesn't have the authority to do that, but he's engaging in fear-mongering and trying to sway the election, which is illegal, it's unethical, it's immoral. And so, we need to make sure that if Mamdani is the next mayor, that the conversations, we should be feeling good that the conversations, if he is the next mayor, are happening with the minority leader.
Let's go to Ozzy in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ozzy.
Hey, Bishop. Good day, both to you and your guest, Bishop.
Thank you.
And, I look at what's going on in the country today and the 4 years that preceded it. All we heard coming from the Republicans, well, not all we heard, but we heard a lot about Hunter Biden. And I just want to ask, why has the conversation gone to people of color more so than Hunter Biden? And I do ask that, ask, was there an agreement made that they wouldn't go after Biden? And I'm just curious.
Was there agreement made that they wouldn't go after Hunter Biden?
Yes, sir.
Who wouldn't go after him?
Trump and the Republican Party, because that's all I heard. I mean, not all I heard, but there was they were attacking Hunter Biden. It seemed like weekly, maybe monthly. I don't know, but they were constantly after Hunter Biden until after the election.
Yeah, but what would I'm trying to understand the question. So, what would the agreement would be between who and who for what?
Well, I look at it like, why would Biden give up the election like he did, where we would lose like we did?
Well, I don't think Biden thought that we were going to lose. I think that a lot of people, including Nancy Pelosi, were saying Biden was getting too old and couldn't handle it, and he bowed to their wishes. I think he gave up the election at their request. I don't think he wanted to. I think he felt that he was being pressured and that they told him they were going to lose more seats, and he thought that they could win, and they almost did win. But I don't think that Joe Biden, I think, would have died and come back before he made a deal with Trump. First of all. Second of all, he didn't need to make a deal with Trump. He pardoned his son. So there was no deal to make. He gave Hunter a full pardon and others. So why would he need to make a deal with Trump?
Well, thank you. That helps me a lot, because he did pardon his son, while the rest of us are catching HELL.
He did, and we are. But I'm answering your question. He didn't need to make a deal.
Sir,
he gave him a pardon. The deal was over. What could Trump do for Hunter now? Hunter's not facing nothing but tomorrow.
But
and
we
he better
are.
pray every night.
Yes, sir.
And we are, which is why we should have came out and voted our deal in the numbers that we could. But thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones, Austin. Be right back.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice. So I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. No justice! No justice! No justice! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Justice!
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
And grateful to be here with you tonight. I love you too. I love you too. It seems like I've known Reverend Al Sharpton all my life. My mom was such a fan of his, and I've seen him through my life in LA at MCA Records. When I was there, he'd come through, you know, and get those people straight about our contracts and talk about that. And I haven't been honored a lot. Maybe this is my second time, and I'm 68 years old. And I've been in this business my entire life. I've never done what you would call a real job. But I am truly honored, and I'm thankful, and I love us. I love my black people. And I fight for us, and I want the women, the black women, to really know their worth. Know that they're queens. That's important to me. That's how my mother raised me. My mother was militant, I guess, when it wasn't trendy, yes. Because when I was a little girl, my mother and father would drive in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, do or die. And when she would see police officers handling black children or a black boy or a girl, she would have my father stop and say, she'd get out of the car and she'd say, "What's going on here? Wait a minute, what you doing?" All the time. So it's natural that I'm that way because I'm so tired of seeing our black men beaten with handcuffs. They have handcuffs on. That's important to me.
You
live. You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. We always have the best. We get the guest that's in the thick of what is happening, like Hakeem Jeffries. And anything may change by Saturday and Sunday. We're going to have on the senators and members of Congress and governors. And you know I'm going to ask the real questions. And I'm not one that hesitates to say, but what about black folks? How does this affect us? Watch the show, support the show as you have, which is why we've been on 14 years. Every Saturday, Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturdays and Sundays on MSNBC. And you in the tri-state area, in the New York area, join us at the Saturday Action Rally this week in Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll be looking for you. Among the other things, we're going to pray for Hakeem Jeffries and their family. They arrested this man, meaning even under the Trump administration, they had to say this is a real threat. And this was a man who was in the January 6th attempted insurrection and was convicted, went to jail. Trump pardoned him. So we're going to, among other things, pray for that and also kick off early voting. So make sure you're at the rally this Saturday, you that are in the tri-state area. And you that are not, you can watch it live on Impact Television. And as Speaker Jeffrey, I hope he will be Speaker after the midterm. Minority Leader Jeffrey said you've got big elections in New Jersey, New York, California, the referendum on the ballot. I know Detroit has a mayor's race. There's a lot of races around the country, and we need to get people out. Don't just wait till the midterm election. There's elections right now. All right, Jenny, let's go back to the phones. It's Policy Day. Let's see what Todd has on his mind. Todd.
Reverend Al Sharpton, Jennifer Jones Austin.
Yes,
a couple
sir.
weeks ago, I brought to your attention, that was already to your attention, that there should have been something put in place that would have protected the military, air traffic controllers, and other essential members of employment in the federal government from, even if a government does shut down, it doesn't affect their salary. In June of this year, Calvert, congressperson from California, Republican, introduced a bill that failed in the Senate 50-44 for just that purpose, to make sure that the military was funded so that their salaries were paid. Now, he has some flaws in this bill that I'm describing as flaws. So I have mixed feelings as to whether I'm okay with it having failed or not. He didn't want to take care of housing, and I thought that should have been part of it for the spouses and things such as that. But his belief was just make sure they get paid their due for their work, their salaries, their pay. And whether independent contractors and other engagers of the military get paid, that's a separate matter. But it didn't make it. Now, the one that I thought was solid came up in September before October 1st, which means she was clearly operating in her duties of trying to make sure that we did not have our 11th government shutdown, was Democrat Jennifer Keegan from Virginia. And her belief was and is that her bill was structured in such a way that from here on out, there is no problem with military getting paid during, if there's a government shutdown or if not. The same thing that I've been saying all along. If you are operating in good standings with your employment agreement with the federal government, whatever your position is, whether it be essential or not, you should be getting paid, especially the military. Michael Johnson refused to even bring it to the floor. The reason Michael Johnson refused to bring it to the floor is because him and his other people who think they're in control of the government and are not. Having the majority vote does not put you in control. It just means you have the majority vote. Him and his other co-conspirators decided you're going to take every single thing in our bill that we're proposing, 119-1. And if you don't take every single thing in our bill that we're proposing, we're going to blame it on the Democratic Party, that's the reason why the government shut down. But had they listened to her, had they read it through, and had more people of the public read it through, they would know at least that would have been done. And that is an example of what we have talked about on this broadcast multiple times before. These bills have too much stuff in it. In addition to that, separate from her bill that was introduced, if I didn't say it before, it was HR 54-5401. That was the bill that she introduced and never made it because Johnson wouldn't bring it to the vote. In addition to that, it's clear that the Republican Party members, taxpayer-funded employees, were not going to really consider extending the Affordable Health Care Act tax credits. Some of them claim that first vote on our bill and get the government open, and then we'll deal with it then. But they've had 2 years to deal with this at least, and they had all of the summer. And even though the Democrats did vote in favor with some of their previous proposal to keep the government funded, they made it clear all along we're not going to let this get to the last minute on these tax credits. The country hasn't responded, has not fully recovered from the COVID crisis, and the credits need to be extended.
No, I think that's true, but I think, Jenny and Todd, I think that the point that you make is a very important point that people seem to, in my opinion, choose to forget, and that is that they had said all along, they being the Democrats, they being Hakeem Jeffries, that they were not going to move in terms of financing the government until they were clear about the November 1st deadlines in terms of the premiums going up, in terms of the Affordable Care Act. And they knew this for months. They played it all the way till now. Okay, years. They played it all the way till now that we're at October 23rd and going into the third week of a shutdown. That they knew what was going. What they were betting on is that the Democrats would fold like they did before, and they didn't fold this time. And I think that now they're starting to get backlash for that and the tariffs. I think I keep bringing up these soybean farmers that are outraged that they lost the China market, which was a lot of their business. And then this country bailed out Argentina, and Argentina started selling its soybeans to China. So you got the tariffs, you got the government shutdown, and in the middle of that, you giving money to Argentina and building a ballroom at the White House. Some of the people in the middle, well, it's private money, we are told, but we don't know the deal on who's doing the demolition work at the White House. Some of that stuff has got involved taxpayer money, Jenny, if nothing but the cleanup. We don't know what the deals are. Who is doing the contracting? And who's paying that? And have they started collecting the private money? They're knocking down the East Wing now. Now, who's paying for it?
My understanding is that's private money.
Your understanding is that he was going to raise private money. They're working now. They're not telling those construction workers. Right. They're not telling those construction workers we'll pay you when we get the money. Who's working? Well, we're looking at demolition crews right now.
That's right.
Here's something that should be acknowledged on my part. I don't believe the Democrats folded before. I don't think that's the appropriate term. I think they took in consideration we have some more opportunity and time here to get this done, extending these tax credits. And because we have so much opportunity and time here, we're going to go along with the agreement to fund the government prior to up to this point. But most of them that I'm aware of made it clear we're not going to let this go to the last minute. So now you got one more time, and now you could blame it on whoever you want to blame it on. The country has not recovered enough from COVID. We need to extend these tax credits for the Affordable Health Care Act. And if people would pay attention and read and see that it is the Republican Party that took the position, you take every single thing that we want in here, or we're not going to allow anything else to go forward. This is their fault. They had opportunities to break that bill up and put things in place so at minimal the military could have been funded, and they ignored it. This is that foolishness that people buy into because they have the majority vote. They think they run the government, and this clearly shows you that they do not run the government. They just have the majority vote. There's a difference. And then the citizens have done our part, you included, Jennifer included, and actually the congressman included too. The money's available. Now, what happens to somebody on the street when the money's available? It ain't because they don't have it. The money's available, and you don't pay somebody for their employment, for their time working. What happens? Everybody knows the answer to that question. The money's available. The government should have been funded. It's their fault. They need to go ahead and extend the tax credits and then argue what they want to pull out of the Affordable Health Care Act later. But right now, let the country recover a little bit more from it by extending the Affordable Health Care Act tax credits. This is their fault, the Republican Party. They aren't in control. They just have the majority vote. There's a difference. There's a difference. Isn't there a difference?
Jenny?
I think all of this is just we're continuing seeing the hypocrisy that exists within our government and that exists within politicians. I mean, Rev, I'm going to say this myself, and it may sound like I'm far off, but we've got people who 1 minute they are running for office because the people who are in office are incompetent and can't run, and then they run behind them and they grovel for their endorsement. It's just politics at every turn, and always leaving out the person lowest on the totem pole.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let me thank Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin. Let me thank House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Breaking news.